Welcome back, everybody, to the CoachNoah podcast, where we dive into health and fitness, mindset, and community. Today's guest is nothing short of extraordinary. Laura Hof, for me,
Wow.
is not only one of the Icewomen, but she's a superhero in global health and the wellness community. She travels the world guiding people beyond their fears, helping them to unlock strength they didn't know they had, and teaching resilience in its purest form. It's very special to me. She's a leader, a force, and a powerful woman who is shaping the world in ways that I deeply, deeply admire. I'm honored to have you here, Laura, and if we're lucky, we might even get to talk about your upcoming book, The Secrets of the Ice Women. So, welcome to the podcast, Laura.
I have the book ready for you.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, it's not out yet. Will be out 29th of April, but yeah, maybe at the end we can talk about it. And wow, what an intro. Thank you, Noah. You are amazing.
Thank you. I'm doing my best. This podcast is just getting started, and it feels really nice to talk to people, my friends, my family, the people in my community and my network, and it's really special that you're here. And so my first question is simple. How are you doing?
How am I doing? The last podcast I had a couple of days, and there was also the question, like, what are you busy with right now? And the only thing that I could really come up with was a question. It's a question for all of your listeners, basically. But it's who are you without your stories? So it's a little bit of a spiritual quest, I would say, but I find it very important now and then to just zone out, disconnect from who I am, Laura Hof, the role that I'm playing in life, and what am I really all about. It's really connecting with the deep, truest inner being of yourself, right?
I
And we
think
all know this one.
this is so hard to do. I had a short conversation with about that with another guest, and like all of us have this idea of what we should be, but when do we ask ourselves what we want to be or who we are and that kind of stuff? A very deep question. Wow.
Yeah, I think this is a question that actually everybody should ask now and then, just to really come to the core essence of our being. For me, really, when I do that, I come back so refreshed into the real world
Yeah.
that I'm much more aligned and connected to my deep source and sense of who I am, what I want, and what is important for me in life, right?
Mm.
And so, yeah, this is really what I'm what I'm into right now. So I am in Thailand. I have a
Well, that
little
was my next
moment for
question.
myself to really disconnect. Yeah. In
So,
Thailand, yeah. And so for me, Thailand is really um yeah, I love to go to Thailand just because of the cultures, the Buddhist culture. I can really disconnect from the whole world. And there, I'm not Laura. I'm just reinventing who I am. So yeah,
wow.
that's
Well, maybe I'll ask you a couple
uh,
questions about that in at the end, just because I find I've never been to Thailand, so maybe I want a good restaurant when I do go, something like that. But um, jumping into this podcast, as much as I would love to spend the whole time talking about your childhood and your past and but all of that is on the internet somewhere. So I want to talk about our experience together because it was really special. Um, a couple of years ago, Laura and I teamed up on the winter expedition of the Wim Hof method in Poland, and it was one of the last ones actually that was still only around 100 people. Nowadays, there are 400 people, and it was really special. And I want to. There was one story that stuck out the most for me talking to you about your childhood, and it was when you first realized that the method works. Do you know what story I'm talking about?
yeah, of course, of course. I mean, so funny because it's a story that actually my father, Oliver, I knew it from another person, but he wrote about it in his book, and I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
And so I think it was Brett Carson, who is an instructor. He said, "Hey, Laura, do you know you are in the book of your father? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, yeah, go to this page." I flip on this page. I go to that page of the book, and it talks about one of the most embarrassing moments. But now I'm celebrating it. I'm embracing it. But it talks about an episode of when I was extremely hangover. I was like 23, I think, maybe even 21. And yeah, when you're hangover, went to a great party, you can't function anymore. I mean, you have a brain fog, you want to stay in bed, go on Netflix or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so my father, and what he said, he's like, Laura, you have a hangover? Come sit with me on the couch and let's go through a round of breathing. And I was like, breathe? No, I've seen him doing the breathing every single day when I was a child. I had a nightmare going to the living room, and who was doing his breathing exercise at 4 o'clock in the morning? My father. So, it's not a real cool thing, sort of, to follow your father always. So that's just not what we did. But then I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. So we sat down on the couch, did 3 rounds of Wim Hof Method breathing. And after the third round, really, it was like a mind orgasm, like a mind explosion, right? And that was the moment I turned around to my father and I was like, holy shit, this shit really works. That was the moment that I was sold on the breathing, and I did them quite a bit. You can imagine
Yeah.
in my 20s, I love to party, so that was really my remedy almost. But whenever I'm like iffy or had a brain fog, I would do them, and now I do it more for spiritual reasons, and just as a cleansing method or a
Yeah.
clarifying method. Um, but that was an episode, and that was when I was in my 20s. So it happened much later, not in my
Yeah.
in my childhood. That was the moment I was sold, and you could really feel it because feeling is understanding. That's
Yes,
what
it
it
is.
does with the breathing method. You can explain it all you want. You can read about it, but when you do it, these 3 rounds, that's all. You cannot describe it. It's just the
Yeah.
feeling that it gives you that
When
is
I
so
do when I do
empowering,
my
so clarifying.
workshops, when I do my workshops, I do my best not to talk too much at the beginning. I like to give a short intro. This is for people that have never really done it before. Um, you I give them like a little bit of safety, like this is what you can feel, and then I just go into it because of that. Feeling is understanding, like doing it is the only real way to understand why it's this worldwide phenomenon right now, why so many people are doing it, and how you can affect yourself and even learn how to control things in your mind and body that you didn't know were possible. And that's why I've actually incorporated the Wim Hof method as one of my main things that I do for professional life because it affected me so much on my first time that I figured
Mm.
why not just add it into my practice and then also what I offer my clients. And it's one of the most, when I say this all the time, doing those workshops is one of the most rewarding uh, experiences because I've been working with people for 15 years and it was always like in personal training and in fitness, but when I started getting into the Wim Hof method 5 years ago, 6 years ago almost, I realized how quickly it can affect people in such a positive way. So I don't want to blabber my mouth on the whole time. Um, but I want to ask
Well, I
another
love
question.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Noah, also about our experience together,
Yeah.
because I still remember you walking up and I was like, oh, who's this dude about? I just arrived, I was a
Yeah.
little late, I think.
A little
And then I
bit.
knew we're going to partner. We're going to partner. And you were like, oh, yeah, I'm going to give you the lead. And I was like, what are you talking about? I could immediately sense you've got it all. You're like an amazing teacher. And really, during this week, I had such a blast. And
It was so
you're so
fun.
knowledgeable. You hold the space so well, and we just had an amazing week. And the people, I think we made a very good duo.
Definitely. I was hoping we could do it
Yeah.
again, but I wanted to ask you, one of the nicest learnings we I had while being on that expedition and leading our Pink Panther group with you was seeing you work with your dad, because now that I'm a dad of two daughters, I can't imagine anything more beautiful than working beside my daughter in the future. And I mean, it's obviously not easy and it comes with its complications, um, but is there any tips you could give me before we go a little bit deeper into our experience together in Poland that I could maybe take with me to see if I can get my daughters to stick around and hang out later, or do I just have to let them do their thing?
Really, that's the way that my father really raised me, is to really do my own thing. Like even the practices, even becoming a teacher, even teaching everybody, everything is self taught, really incentivized from within. So my father never forced us. He didn't even say, hey, maybe you should do this, maybe you should join, maybe. He did never of that sort. So it all came by my own motivation. I think really, as a parents and children, every child is different. Some
Yeah,
like to join the ride. They like to step into the same shoes. But what I do not believe in, I just don't believe in it, is to expect your child to be the same or do the same thing. Let them
yeah,
choose their path, and if it aligns, amazing. But if
yeah.
not, amazing as well. There's no
Amazing.
right, no wrong.
Yeah,
And just
of
be a great
course.
example. A
Yeah.
parent, how do you teach children? By being the best example you can be.
That's
Because a
the
lot of these beautiful things that I learned from my father, it's not because he was sitting down with me and telling me, he's not the best, I would say, instructor. Really, I asked him one time, can you teach me to play the guitar? You know what he did? Like three times. And I was like 12 or something. Like, yeah, 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 no problem. So okay, can we do it? Can we? So then it's like, okay, we go to the hallway because there's a beautiful sounding echo there. That's where he likes to play the guitar. And then we sit there, and what does he do? He does a full-on Spanish guitar. Nothing of the one step, two step, three step. Here, you put your finger. Nothing of that sort. He just goes full in.
yeah,
So I would say he's not the best instructor. He's an inspirator.
yeah.
He's just,
Did you
yeah, he
ever
just
learn how
leads
to
by
play the
showing.
guitar? Did you ever learn how to play
Yes,
the
I
guitar?
do, but
Yeah.
through my uncle, actually.
Okay. So you can play like different chords, just freestyle, or do you play like the Oasis Wonderwall like everyone else?
No, I'm a freestyler. I like to write songs. I like to write poems, and it's all freestyle. I
Ah,
can't really do sort of songs. No, that's not my kind of thing. I have my brother-in-law who loves to do that, like sing
yeah,
the Oasis and today we're gonna be. And I like, listen, just try a song, and I will
yeah.
write a poem on it. I will write a song on it because I'm very good with that. I like to improvise,
Do you have
and
any
that's my
any
style.
do you have any poems or anything that you do you have like something that you're like saving up to eventually put out,
No,
or it's just for you?
no, it's only for me. It's
That's really
only for
nice.
me. Like, I think creativity is an outlet. It's really sort of a vibration that goes through your system, and anything can then just latch onto it, and then you send it out into the world. It's very cleansing,
Yeah,
singing and being creative and writing poets. And I think as a human being, we're actually creative geniuses, all of us. So even when you're bad, you're great because you should do it for yourself. Yeah,
exactly.
really,
If we're not
that's
doing it for
that's
ourselves, we're probably doing it for the wrong reasons.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
How many winter expeditions have you helped out on?
Oh man, I think, like, what will it be? Like four with my dad, and then
Okay.
I did about 5 or 6 myself.
Yeah.
and then a Spanish travels, and then many events with my dad.
Yeah,
So
okay.
many events because in the beginning I wasn't teaching. I was just following my father all over the world.
Yeah,
And he were little sessions, private sessions, big events that I organized. And to be honest, I have never been an event organizer. So
yeah,
it just was all very free flow. But I just love to travel and I love to be with my dad. And then
yeah,
just with him, I used to give some advice or I used to just help out with leading
yeah,
people into an ice bath, for example, or with the breathwork sessions. So it went all very natural.
yeah,
And only later I really decided to become an instructor. But then I do have to say, during this, even when I did the academy, I was not planning on becoming an instructor. I just wanted to
really?
do the academy. Yeah, yeah. It was during the travel actually, when I was doing the academy in Poland. I was talking with everybody, and you need to do your story. You need to do many different exercises, and then I really felt a calling within, like,
Yeah,
yeah, but why won't I teach?
yeah,
What is it? And of course it's the name. So I was like, no, it's not correct because I'm Laura Hof. I'm the daughter of. Like, who is she that she's going to teach the method?
yeah.
No. I
I
mean,
mean,
these thoughts, they come up, right? But I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
but if I enjoy it, why not?
yeah,
So it was a little struggle within myself, and my
yeah.
brother actually didn't want me to do the academy. I understand, but I
What?
love to teach, and
Yeah,
I
and I
love
mean,
when
you're
when you.
also really good at it. I learned a lot from you while we were working together in Poland. I think that's one of the best things about doing those winter expeditions is you get to come to Poland and then there's instructors from all over the world and you get
Yeah,
paired up randomly, totally random
yeah.
with someone. And I don't know how the Wim Hof Central does it, but it's always somehow a perf I don't know, maybe it's just in my case, but I've always had a perfect match with the instructor I'm working with. And with you, it was really special because I was like, oh God, I'm working with Laura Hof. She's gonna be a diva. I'm not really sure how this is gonna be. And then it was like the classic situation. You come in and I'm like, oh, here she is. I'm gonna introduce myself, and she's like, it's really late. Let's go to sleep. And it's like, oh fuck, we haven't talked about tomorrow at all. Tomorrow's the first day. And so we did a quick briefing on the way to our like rooms up in the house across from the hotel. And I was like, okay, you know what? Embrace it. This is gonna be an amazing ride because it's kind of how I love life to be. You don't need to plan everything. We don't need to know what's coming up next. We just stay agile, take a deep breath, and be in the moment. And I think that's why we worked so well together because we didn't have time like the other instructors to sit down and say, this is what we're doing. We had only a little bit of time before each session to say, this is what's coming next. How are we going to do it? And let's go get them.
Yeah. And I do have to say, sometimes I have been paired with. You never know. And
Yeah,
I do feel, okay, I have to carry more,
yeah,
right? So I'll be the leader. But with you, I could immediately sense. Like,
yeah.
we had a couple of words exchange. You
Yeah.
came up, I think, no shoes. And I was like, where are your slippers? We had a little, and immediately, like, from the couple of sentences you said, I could immediately say, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be
Yeah.
great. He can lead. He can lead. And you can sense that from the energy of the person. So
Yeah.
I could already feel we're going to carry this together. So that was
Yeah.
great. For me, it was like, oh, fantastic start because you never know.
Yeah.
You
Do you
really
have
never
do
know.
you have any memories of that expedition? I think it was exactly two years ago, maybe in
Yeah.
2023, I believe. Um, I mean, it's been a while, but I
Yeah.
guess do you have any fun memories of that one?
I'll tell you this. Usually, I'm kind of hardcore and I just throw people immediately in like the depth. I'm a little bit like my father that way.
Yeah.
What I learned from you, which was really great, you really taught me something there. That
Yeah.
was the first day we went to the water. And I still remember you did a great exercise. We were standing next to the water. Everybody was frightened because it was snow white. It was super cold. And they knew we need to enter that water.
Yeah.
And what did you do first? You let them strip naked, of course, bikinis and and shorts, but do a little exercise in the snow. And that was about 2 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
You laid them down in the snow for about 2 minutes, one side, and then the other side, 2 minutes, which was amazing. And then you let
Yeah.
them get up, and they didn't know. They didn't know. Then they thought, we need to go in the water. That was difficult.
Yeah.
But that was the moment. And you discussed it with me. And I thought it was so good that you were
Yeah.
like, okay, this is it. This was the exercise.
Yeah.
And we then went back, and it was like the most gentle but also a great mind fact, but the most gentle way of preparing them really for
I'm
the
always
day
actually
after.
I'm always actually scared to just throw people in, so that's why I like to take the baby steps because like you never
Yeah,
really know who you're gonna get. So how would you
yeah.
like you read the group and you say, okay, we're going in the water?
Most of the time, yes. Most of the time it is. But actually, because of you, I'm more gentler now.
Yeah. Actually,
I'm
we
more
had a
gentle.
couple of
It was
people.
really because of you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really cool to hear. We had actually I think one or two of the guys say thank you for being gentle. I don't know if you remember that, but in our in our circle because a lot
Yeah.
of like men I don't want to generalize, but a lot of men feel this need to just like push through and we have to do it. And in this circle that we built with those 25 individuals, it was like this tender, loving, we're gonna do scary shit, but we're also gonna like care for each other. And it
Yeah.
was really, really, really nice to see. So
It was beautiful. And
yeah,
also the
go ahead.
connections, the circles that we had, like the crying and the releasing and the connection, also the father and daughter, just
Yeah,
it was so beautiful. Really, it broke and like built my heart and expanded my heart so deeply.
yeah,
And I have it every time, but it's just every time is so different.
yeah,
And it was just so beautiful and so special.
yeah.
And we
It
had, of course, we just had a great group. And I think we
yeah,
really worked so well together that the
yeah,
tenderness and the hardcore, both
yeah.
elements were there.
We
So
had
we
it
pushed them
balanced.
out. We had it balanced. We
Yeah,
pushed them out of the comfort zone, but they
yeah,
felt safe enough to really express,
yeah,
explore their emotions. And so
yeah.
that was amazing, I thought.
I think it's funny that we broke down a bunch of barriers where like you are the hardcore let's do it and I was this soft little guy like we're gonna go slow. It's I love that.
So funny, yeah.
So
Also
you
with the
like me
breathing.
have also worked with many instructors worldwide. My question to you is when you step into a leadership role with someone new like me, how do you adapt your approach when if at all compared to when you do it by yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really about a synergy, right? And so I think in the beginning, when I was leading and when I was working together, in the beginning, you want to prove yourself a little bit. It's just natural, you know, and then you feel that you need to do things in a certain way and it can't be out of the sight of the protocol. But the more you actually work together with people, the more you just create a zone where everything is allowed, because the most beautiful teachings and the most beautiful collaborations really is when everybody has a chance to shine. So
Yeah,
there's not too much forcing in that. It's really the best way. I know instructors, I'm not going to name names as well. If there's too much rigidity, yeah, yeah, you don't let your partner shine. It's very important because
yeah,
everybody has great teachings. As an instructor, you came there with a mission, with a reason, with
yeah,
a point of view, and that point of view is valuable. Every point of view is valuable. So let them have that moment, let them have that space. And some are a little bit more timid.
Yeah.
Others are, I'm going, I'm more of a, I'm going.
Yeah.
So my challenge is, okay, step back a little bit,
Yeah.
create the space,
But it's
create the
amazing that you
opening.
have that capability because I think sometimes people don't have the ability to read the part, like the team situation, and to say, this is my
Mm,
time to shine, this is my time to let the other person shine. Because we get put in this role
mm,
of leader and assistant sometimes at the
yeah,
winter
yeah,
expedition. And so the leader has this feeling like they need to like lead the whole thing, and the assistant should just
yeah,
listen. And I think
yeah.
in our situation, it was really nice that we shared the responsibility almost. And um, I I don't
No,
know
for
if it.
sure. That was what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
That was what it was because in the beginning, we had roles. It was your
yeah,
first time, so you get the
yeah,
role of assistant. But as I said, the moment that I met you, I was like, oh, no, piece of cake. Piece of cake. He got this.
yeah,
So we're gonna share the responsibility, and I
yeah,
could immediately sense that. You also feel when somebody's in their center
yeah,
or not, when they're
yeah,
completely out of their center.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, you have to take the lead because else it
yeah,
gets very messy.
yeah,
You create space, but you take the lead. So it's
yeah.
sensing with whom you're dealing with. But you're not a rookie, you know. You
No, I
you
think
weren't a rookie, although it
no.
was your,
First
yeah,
time, yeah. I think you have one of your
yeah.
superpowers is not only reading the situations, but empowering people. Like you do a really good job
Oh,
of lift, like at least in our situation, you're it's maybe the teacher inside of you, like you love to be there and teach. And so you like in our situation help to foster me in a really nice way. And I can see that probably being the case in a lot of situations.
that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. And actually, I like to do this with just the people, the participants as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Show them their own superpower because they will get to know them when
Yeah,
we're going through that week. All of a sudden, they're encountering their best selves.
yeah,
And wow, is that amazing to watch?
yeah.
Is that a joy? Is that a privilege to watch them step into who they are
That's
and their
exactly.
power? It's so beautiful to watch. And then
Yeah,
everybody is so beautiful and their unique blueprint. And then they come together and it's just one bundle of beauty and
yeah,
grace and an explosion of love. And
yeah,
yeah, it's you really have to go through this week to see it, to notice it, to feel what is happening because it is a full-on transformation
yeah.
and they
Totally.
leave as completely different people.
Yeah,
And so to as teachers, our role is really to help people to step into their really
yeah.
leadership of their lives. That's
That's
what
very
we
true.
do.
Exactly. If we're capable, the best are capable. That's true. And so I was looking on your Instagram and trying to figure out like what you're doing next because you have a couple of really cool events coming up. One of them is an Arctic experience.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. It's also the first time that I'm going in, so we'll see. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Where is it? When is it?
It is that one is in November, so it is 13th to 17th of November. It's in the Arctic. It's a
Yeah.
hotel, so it's still nice and cozy.
Yeah.
But it's on an island, so nice and deserted. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's going to be very nice. We have a yoga teacher, which is Rachel Cox. She's
Yeah.
also joining. She's
Yeah.
actually the one that sourced it.
Yeah.
So she already went, she saw the place, and she thought it was so spectacular. And we are friends. So I was like, let's join hands and let's do it together. And so yeah, it's going very quickly already. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
all of the early birds have already been booked, and it's not even a month ago that we
That's amazing.
started. Yeah,
I
so
mean, a special experience like that is could be for some people a once in a lifetime experience. So I can see why it's probably flying off the shelves, so to say. But Which island is it? Which country?
Norway.
Ah, nice. So it's up in the north, in those fjord islands.
I think so. To be honest, I have no idea. I was like, even looking up the airport, I was like, oh, I forgot it again. It's like,
Yeah,
so yeah, I don't know. Twice I was asked and I forgot again. But I
yeah,
think you fly to Tromsø and from there it's the ride.
yeah. Nice. Oh, that sounds really beautiful. I went up to the north of Sweden last 2 years ago. Or maybe it was 3 years ago. But oh my gosh, just the stillness in the north of the world is it's so intensely beautiful,
Yeah,
especially like
yeah.
in the turning of the seasons. Like November, we went in the middle of January, but it was like the snow is thick, the trees are heavy, the ice is like 50 centimeters, 60 centimeters thick, and you have to cut through it on the lakes, and it's so beautiful. I actually hope to do a workshop once my kids are a little bit older in a place like that because it I hope that
Take them with you.
yeah, maybe. I've been talking to my partner about it, and she's like, I don't know if we can manage. They're going to be wanting to be a part of it, but maybe we just do like a family experience with other people with families, something like that. Could be,
Actually, that was also the question. So with this travel, there was also a question if the kids could tag along, but we did decide to not do it.
yeah.
But you could do that as a family for sure. It's
I
just a
think
different experience.
exactly. It's a totally different experience. I think if we would be open about that and make it like exclusively for people with kids,
That
because
is perfect.
if there's one lady or one guy without kids, they're like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
Kids
But
are
then you can
great.
have a babysitter,
Exactly. Hey,
for
yeah, we'll
those
ask that
moments.
person to babysit while everyone else goes out. Quite funny.
Yoga, I can definitely see that. It could definitely work. But it
Yeah.
would be a big hotel. You need a big hotel for that.
Yeah, that's true. And so is there any other events that you're doing in this year, like workshops?
Yes, there are actually a couple of ones. So I have Kaplan Kaya that is in May. It's for harvest. So I have an event then.
Yeah.
And now there's a couple more coming up for Dubai. We're thinking about Singapore. So those are coming up in September. They're almost going to be online. And there's India coming up in
Whoa.
June. Yes, yes,
Where
yes.
in India?
Um, well, again, I don't know. I think it's because I tried to look it up, but it was the wrong resort. So
Yeah.
I'm very bad with places. I'm very
Yeah.
bad, but it will be online also very soon.
Yeah.
And I might do a workshop as well in Goa because I have a friend there. So yeah, things are moving. At first, it is the year of the snake. So I was like, okay, it needs to be strategic, but I'm very much feminine.
Yeah.
So it goes out of the window, the strategic part, and then it's just free flow, really. I'm very
Yeah.
free flowing,
Yeah,
very
you
free
are.
flowing.
And
It's
but
really
that's
my
one
thing.
of that's
Yeah.
another superhero super strength of yours because it's some people are so stuck in rigidity of life that it's hard to get out. But obviously every strength can turn and become a little bit of a weakness, but it's and it doesn't matter. We survive and we get through it. Um I would like to jump into kind of the end of the podcast now, where we talk about maybe
Yeah.
some fun things. But one thing I think being in the public eye is obviously not easy. And so one of my questions is, what is one thing that people assume about you that isn't true? Is there anything that pops up into your mind?
Yeah, I mean, people always have their preconceived notions of who you are, just
Yeah.
based on. Um, so it's really very individualized, but I do come across like preconceived notions of who is Laura, and I'm very, I love, I love a good hotel, for example. I really love a good hotel. So sometimes I like luxurious things, definitely a little bit diva in that sense.
Yeah.
But in terms of my essence, my being, I'm very relaxed. I'm very simple.
Yeah.
And I think I'm very grounded in that way. Like I love people,
Yeah.
and I'm very kind. I think so.
Yeah. No,
So
I
sometimes
can
people think that,
confirm. I can confirm.
yeah,
You're nice.
so they think that I'm not on a pedestal, and actually, I
Yeah.
don't want to be on a pedestal. So when
Yeah.
I feel that, I actually try to make people feel comfortable so
Yeah.
that we can have a normal talk because
Yeah.
that for me is the most important thing. I'm a human being. I want
Yeah.
to relate as a human to human.
Yeah.
Um, so
I
yeah, that is, sometimes it does happen,
yeah.
especially when people don't know me. For
Yeah,
sure, for
exactly.
sure. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy, very happy to know you, at least in the little bit that we've gotten to know each other. I think when people share a moment or a week of guiding people, you really can see into that person's soul. So it's I feel like I saw you even though it was only a week, and it was really, really nice. Now let's get into the dirty details of. I know it's not always about numbers, but have you ever taken a long ice bath?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't really measure. I did do a 20 minute one.
Was that at the
That was like my
training?
max. Was that? No, that was not at the training.
Okay,
That was
because
not at the training.
my
The training was
my
maybe like 15 minutes.
yeah,
No,
okay,
and that's
that,
very doable if you
yeah,
train a lot.
yeah,
Honestly, like you will go to those numbers.
yeah,
But again, it's not about the numbers. It
no,
really is not about the numbers. Like, yeah, but how long can you do it? Yeah, but
yeah, exactly.
it's not about that. Can you do it fully connected with yourself?
Boom.
Understanding where your boundaries are, understanding what you really need for you to feel completely elevated,
Yes,
completely focused, completely in your peak state of being. That's all you need it for. And
yes,
so we have a ice woman, I think, in Iceland. She's like the record breaker. She's also an instructor, or was an instructor, and she did like 1 hour and an hour. And I was like, I would never want to break that one. Like,
yeah,
why would I? Or
yeah,
you have like Wim, and that of course did all those records, or now an Austrian guy that did 4 hours.
yeah,
But if you're not into breaking records, then it's more about health, recovery. It's about your mental state, your emotional resilience. It's about really staying connected with your body. And I think, especially also as women, it's maybe even more important to stay connected with, for men and women equally,
yeah,
but maybe even more for women. We have a more active brain.
mm,
So our prefrontal cortex and our amygdala, they have a very more stronger connections with one
yeah,
another. Our neurons are firing more. So that means we're ruminating more. And so for us, really, what is important is that when we enter into an ice bath, wow, what an opportunity we have to sink in into our bodies and being connected with our bodies and strengthening that connection. What an opportunity. And so for me, that is really the exercise. Mind body connection. Nowadays with modern human being, we're so disconnected.
yeah,
We're so disconnected that this becomes a tool of inner peace, of inner connection, of really connecting that stronger neurological muscle, as I would like to say, of really staying connected with yourself. That is what we're training. And
yeah.
then with that connection, trained in an ice bath, we learn to do that also in our daily practice, in our daily
Yes, we
lives,
do.
with any other stressors
I'm
around.
so happy that
So
you
for me, that's the most important.
I'm so happy that you said that
Yeah.
because it's the reason I asked you is because so many people ask me that. I'm like, my longest and the only time I've ever done that was at the master training. I did the 20 minutes and I've never done it again. I had an amazing experience. It was like almost a spiritual awakening experience in the 20-minute ice bath. But like the when I have people that have maybe tested out the Wim Hof method in their at their house without doing any workshops or anything, they always come to me and they're like, "How long are we going to be holding our breaths? How long are we going to be in the water? What are like all these numbers?" And I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm.
"Stop. It's not about that. It's about let's see if we can stop thinking about the numbers and start thinking about ourselves." And it when they realize like during that workshop that they can let go of numbers for the first time ever, it's like it's one of the most beautiful things to watch as well. Is they're like, oh my gosh, I've never felt like that before. I've never felt so at peace or connected. Like there's so many different descriptors of that. And I
Mhm.
so happy that you said that you transitioned from me asking you about time into that. So good work. Check them out.
I mean, of course, 2, 3 minutes. Make sure
Yeah,
that you got those in. But
yeah,
beyond that, it's really tuning into the body, really
yeah,
sensing what is going on and not pushing through.
yeah,
Sometimes you see these people that are pushing through it, and it's actually just another form of mind control or the
yeah,
wanting to control everything. It's a mind thing. It's a
yeah,
mind thing. But then you're really not overcoming yourself at all. You're
yeah.
just ego tripping in that moment.
Ego,
And that's
exactly.
not what we want to train. Yeah, you want to release, you want to
Yeah,
relax, you want to be fully connected with with yourself. And if you can do that, that's the exercise.
yeah.
Not with the mind. We do it
So,
mind, body, soul, heart, connected,
yes,
right?
beautiful.
That's the way to do it.
Ooh, okay, so before I forget, because I know it would happen, I would your book is going to come out on the 29th of April, you said. Is there one thing that you could share on the podcast that people could get people's interest?
Um, I think this book, the way that I see it, it's gonna help a lot of women to get more confidence, to become a stronger and more resilient version of themselves. And I think, especially for women, it's very important.
Yeah,
We have so many more stressors, and that's environmental stressors, societal stressors, cultural stressors, the expectations that we have of ourselves. Women have that tremendously. And then all of these roles we have to play. What we really teach with the method is you cleanse yourself, of course, inflammation goes down, but we learn to deal with stress.
yeah,
And if we deal with stress, really, wow, if you can deal with stress, it is called cross adaptation.
yeah.
You can deal with
Life is
any other
easy.
stressor in your life. Yes. And so this book is really geared towards women because it's full packed, it's scientific based, but it's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful book, and it's going to help a lot of women. Most people struggling with an autoimmune condition, they are women. Mental health issues, most of them are women. And so the Wim Hof method provides a tremendous opportunity to tackle these issues. This is really my strong belief, and this is what I've seen in the community with thousands of women practicing in our surveys. And there's so little research, but so many anecdotal evidence. And
Yeah,
women are just doing their own research, becoming their own scientists, as Wim
yeah,
always did, right? What
yeah,
did he say? My body is my laboratory. My
yeah,
body is my laboratory. And this is what all these women are also doing. And
yeah,
so, because of that, and because of all of these questions that they are having with regards to pregnancy, with regards to menopause, with regards to their menstrual cycle, we're answering these questions and many more. So, it's actually not a book only for women, I would
yeah,
say, because it's full of nuggets. Really, Isa and I try to put everything in it, what wasn't covered in the book of my father, for example,
yeah,
some of these things. And I just really strongly believe it can help so many women. That's why I wanted to write it. That's the
Yeah.
only reason. And so it's going to help a lot of women. That's my mission. That
Yeah.
was my mission. Is still my mission. And of course also the male. It's going to be good for the for the males as well.
Yeah.
When you have a happy woman that is, healthy, strong, happy, that's what you want.
I
So
mean, for someone like myself, who I work with both men and women, and I like most of the research out there, like you said, is done on men, and so the things that we're doing are not specifically tailored for women, and so it's now finally starting to gain speed. And importance
yeah,
is this research so that we can make sure that we're treating women as importantly as we treat men, because I mean, without women, we're not the world doesn't keep going, right? So I think
exactly. Yeah.
I'm excited to read it because I want to see your perspectives, and I also want to see Isa's perspectives, and maybe even see what I can take from it in a very digestible way, into how I can help women in this community here, and maybe even foster creating more women instructors here, or practitioners here in Berlin and Moabit. So
Amazing. Yeah, for
pretty
me, this is a
excited.
book really to elevate women,
Yeah,
to make sure, there's a disbalance going on.
yeah,
And the way that I see it, this world, it's very funny, but this is how I see it.
yeah,
This world is, if we would compare it to a nervous system, it's much more in the young. It's much more in the sympathetic. It's much more in the go, 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 go. Huh? And just less care for the surroundings, and we need to have it more balanced. And for me, that is really getting women to be elevated in their way, and that means empowering women from within. That's
yes,
that's the way to do it, because when you change the mind, everything changes. So yeah,
amazing.
let's empower a woman and
Yes,
males at the same time and
I'm in.
rebalance this world,
Yes,
rebalance this, making sure that we're just balancing this homeostatic balance out into the world. That's really how I see it.
I love
And
that.
so we need both. We need
We
both.
definitely
So,
need both. Oh,
yeah.
it's crazy. But we don't need to
Yeah.
get into the world right now. Let's let's finish up by I want to ask you just a fun question. Actually, I have two. The first one is simple. Or it's not as simple. The second one is simple. If you could have a dinner party with anyone alive or dead, who would you invite?
Oh, that's quite easy. Yoda.
Yes.
I love Yoda. Bruce Lee. I probably knew a couple of the Shaolin monks.
Yeah,
And then actually, I also love Elon Musk. I met two of my heroes in
yeah,
the past, which was
yeah,
Obama. Later on, not so much a hero, and Noam Chomsky. So those wouldn't be at the dinner table, but
yeah.
Elon Musk. That's it's
Interesting.
maybe controversial, but yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Hey,
I know. I want to talk to him.
ending on
I want to talk to
controversial is
him.
the, yeah. Wait, you want to talk to him?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. I heard
Yeah.
I heard for a second you were gonna invite him not to talk to him, but that and I was like, wait, that's interesting.
No, no,
Yeah.
no. The way that I am, for me, it's very important to listen to all perspectives.
Yes.
It's very important, because if you don't, you cannot really see the world the way it is.
Yeah.
If you listen to all perspectives, then I find you can take the best position.
Yeah.
But even then, most of the time, you just don't know.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's a great position to be at, that actually you don't really know.
Exactly. I strongly agree. Even if it's controversial, even if it's part of the world's politics right now, and it's important to listen and try and maybe even have both sides listen, and listen to me and listen to you. And if everyone's listening, then we get to that balance that you're talking about. And oh, so
Why
so
not
very
put Putin? Putin is also invited, and Trump as well. That would make a great dinner party,
Oh
actually.
gosh,
I'm
it
going to
would
hope
be
for some
insane.
wine. Let
Are
the
there,
wine
wait,
keep on flowing here.
are there any women? Because all of the people at your table right now
Yeah.
are men, plus you.
Oprah.
Oprah?
Oprah, Mel Robbins. God, I love her. I think
Yeah.
she's so amazing. I think she brings a perspective that is not always obvious. And I
Okay.
appreciate that a lot. And Oprah, because she's just the queen of the world. You know?
That's
She's the
true.
queen of the world.
Yeah.
I
Amazing.
love her
Well,
story. Yeah.
since we're on the topic of dinner, I would say, what is your favorite food?
If I could only eat one thing ever again,
Yeah.
oh my God, yeah, but I'm such a foodie.
Yeah.
That is
No, I'm not asking
like
you to give everything else up. What is your favorite food right now? If you were going to go out to eat, you could have anything in the world right now, what would it be?
coconuts. Coconut
What?
water, everything coconuts.
Yeah.
I
All
love
right.
coconuts. Yeah. I think coconut, if I'm on a deserted island and I have coconuts, I'll survive and be happy.
Yeah. You don't think you'd get sick of them after a month of coconuts?
No, no, I don't get sick of them at all. I drink them every day. I love coconuts. They are just
Nice.
amazing.
Well, yeah, I think
Electrolytes.
you're in the right place right now to eat coconuts, I guess, in
Yeah, that
Thailand.
is true.
Yeah.
That is true. Thailand is great. Yeah,
Yeah.
coconut food everywhere. Yeah.
So if I've never been there, if I could visit, if I had one more trip to do, and it's to Thailand, where should I go? If I'm looking to have a natural experience, not a party experience.
Oh man, a natural experience.
Yeah.
I mean, they're beautiful, beautiful places. Um, if you want more ancient ruins, go to Ayutthaya, which is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
If you want more temple vibe, go to
Yeah.
Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
It's a great city. If you want more island vibe, I mean, they're smaller islands, but for me, Pangang is really nice.
Panggang.
And I
Okay.
don't go for the parties at all because I don't party.
Yeah.
But ecstatic, I do ecstatic. I
Yeah.
love the ecstatic dances here. There's a lot of spirituality on this island. And it's also this culture, this mix of Buddhist culture, which I'm a fan. I almost consider myself a Buddhist.
Yeah.
Not because I label myself, but because I read the description. I'm like, oh, I think I'm a Buddhist.
Yeah.
I think I'm a Buddhist,
Yeah.
but I am a follower or a believer of the Tao. And
Yeah.
that's not even Buddhist, but the Buddhist is a derivative of it. That means I'm not, I'm spiritual. And I do believe in this connection with something bigger than
Yeah.
yourself. And do find that on this island. I find the magical a lot. So many palm trees. An island is already surrounded by water.
Yeah.
And water for me, we are water. So
Yeah.
you're connecting to just this vibration and this beauty of this flow. And I always find it super healing.
Yeah.
So if you go, I don't want to give a recommendation for a place, but for me, it works because it's
Yeah.
different for everybody.
That's
It
true.
really
But
is.
it's nice to
You
get
have to find out.
inspiration, you know? It's nice to see, okay, she
Yeah.
experienced that there. I'm gonna maybe start there and then I'll find my way from there, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Thai culture is. I'm a great ambassador for Thailand. Not so much for my own country, Holland, but I'm an amazing ambassador for Thailand because I recommend it to everybody.
Yeah.
Because of the culture, the people. The people are so nice,
Yeah.
and it's this underlying yeah, you can't pinpoint it, but I think it's the Buddhist culture that is
Okay.
part of this beautiful essence of human beings. Yeah. Yeah, I can leave my phone. I leave my phone really, for hours on end. It's on a table, whatever. I've done it so many times.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to take it. It's
Wow.
so safe there. Yeah, it's so safe. I'm leaving my keys all of the time. It's like almost every day. And I'm like that. So it's a perfect country for me. It's a
Amazing.
perfect.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for your time and being on here. Is there anything else that we missed that you want to talk about before we finish off?
No, no, I think you are amazing, and I'm so happy to join you on your podcast. And I know it's gonna, yeah, it's gonna hit off. You're such an
We'll see.
amazing person, interviewer, and
Yeah,
so thank you. Yeah.
you're very
And would love to.
welcome.
Let's see if we can organize a travel together again.
Boom, let's try it. I love that.
Right?
Everyone's listening. We heard it. Thank you, Laura. I really do appreciate your time. So have an amazing time. Have an amazing day. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye.
Bye.
All right, let me stop the recording here.
My God, the sun went everywhere.